Good morning, folks. Tonight, we're diving into a darkness that still chills the bone. A tragedy from the heartland. A story of a curse whispered down through generations. This isn't folklore. This is real. This happened to a man named Robert Miller, out in the deep, isolated farmlands of rural Ohio, about 40 years ago. Back then, places were tougher, lights were sparse, and sometimes you had to cross a field at night. Robert was a good man, known throughout his small community. A hard-working farmer, a devoted husband, a father of 6. His wife, Sarah, was the light of their home. But life on the farm was hard. When Sarah fell ill, a strange, wasting sickness that no local country doctor or distant clinic could name, Robert spent every penny he had. They watched her body turn pale, then an awful dark blue. And then Sarah was gone. 6 children were left behind. The eldest, Ben, was 17. The youngest, little Timmy, was just 4. Robert was broken. He'd lost his wife, and now he was drowning, trying to farm and raise 6 heartbroken kids. As the harvest season approached, the time when he had to be in the fields nonstop, he made the hardest choice. He packed the kids up and drove them to his in-laws' house way outside Lancaster, Ohio. He was cycling back home, his mind a wreck, when he saw him. An old, ragged man lying beside the dirt road, clutching his stomach, groaning. Robert, being Robert, stopped. The old man begged him, "Son, just get me to my cabin. Please, I'm dying. It's just up ahead, off the road." Robert helped him. As they rode, the old man, who introduced himself as a hermit, learned about Robert's tragedy, the loss of Sarah, the 6 children. When they reached the edge of a thicket, the old man stopped. "Here's my place. Thanks, son. But wait, listen to an old fool. You can't raise those kids alone. You need a wife." Robert just shook his head, thinking only of Sarah. As Robert started to cycle away, the old man's voice, now strangely urgent, called out, "Wait, my daughter. She's your age. She lives with me. She's never married. She could be the mother your children need." Robert didn't even look back. He rode off, haunted by the image of Sarah. He got back to his in-laws the next day, and his mother-in-law, his late wife's mother, said the exact same thing. "Robert, you have to remarry. You need someone to care for those babies." Driven by desperation and the hope of giving his children a stable life, Robert decided to go back and meet the daughter of that strange old man. He took his mother-in-law with him. They cycled back to the spot, but there was no cabin. Only a lone, massive cottonwood tree stood where the old man had stopped. Then they saw her. A young woman, beautiful and pale, was sweeping the dirt near the tree. She was weeping. Robert She choked out the words. He passed away last night. It was his stomach choke. Robert's mother-in-law saw her immediate and her sadness. Spoke. "My name is Robert Miller. Your father asked me to marry you." She looked up, her eyes wide. "Robert? He told me about you. He said a kind man would come for me." Her name was Rhiannon. They married quickly. Robert brought Rhiannon back to the farm in Ohio, where his 2 remaining children, Ben and David, were waiting. The little ones, the 4 youngest, were still at their grandparents'. Rhiannon was introduced as their new mother. The children were quiet. Robert started to feel a sliver of hope. Then the true horror began. 2 months later, Robert came home from the fields to find Rhiannon on the porch, weeping, holding little Timmy. The 4-year-old was dead. His body was a ghastly sight, bloodless, shrunken, and like his mother Sarah, his skin had turned an unbelievable dark blue. The doctor was baffled. It was a complete draining. They buried little Timmy. A few months later, the next youngest child was found dead. Then 2 more. In less than a year, 4 of Robert Miller's 6 children were gone. The entire community was terrified. The few remaining neighbors told Robert, "This isn't a sickness. You need a preacher. You need a holy man." Robert, in a shadow of himself, was sent to a local spiritual advisor, a man known to live deep in the woods near the Scioto River. The spiritual advisor sat in silence for a long time. Then he opened his eyes, staring past Robert. They will take the last two, and then they will take you. If you sleep, Robert, you will die. The moment you close your eyes, your children are lost. Robert went mad. He screamed, "How can I not sleep? I'm a man. I'm a farmer. I have to work." The advisor gave him no answers, only the warning. Robert went home terrified. He tried to stay awake, but exhaustion is a cruel master. Around 2 a.m. he passed out. He woke up in a panic. He ran to the children's room. Both boys were fine. He felt a moment of intense relief and doubt about the advisor. The next day he found his old friend, a fellow farmer who had become an apprentice to the spiritual advisor. Robert told him everything. The friend listened, then looked at Robert's bruised, desperate face. "I don't know the why, Robert, but I know how to keep you awake. Cut yourself. Not deep, but enough to hurt. Rub salt in it. The fire will keep you awake." Robert did it. That night, the blinding, searing pain in his leg kept him conscious. He lay there, eyes wide open, the darkness pressing in. Then, around 2:30 a.m., he heard it, the soft, slow creak of his bed. Rhiannon was getting up. He kept his eyes shut, feigning sleep. He heard the bare feet cross the floor, heard the bedroom door open, then close softly. She was heading to the children's room. Robert's heart hammered against his ribs. He dragged himself up, ignoring the burning agony in his leg, and crept to the door. He peered through the crack. What he saw was not his wife. Rhiannon was gone. In her place stood a terrifying, towering silhouette. It was 8 feet tall, naked. Its skin was the color of fresh, dark clay. Long, tangled hair fell to its waist, and its hands ended in grotesque, bone-white claws. This creature, a banshee, a hag, a wendigo he didn't know, was gently, slowly bending over the sleeping form of his eldest son, Ben. Robert's blood ran ice-cold. He staggered back to his bed, forcing himself to breathe. He shouted, his voice cracking, "Rhiannon, where are you?" The creature instantly vanished. Rhiannon, his beautiful, pale wife, came rushing in from the children's room, completely normal, her face etched with concern. "What is it, darling? What's wrong?" Robert knew. He knew he was sleeping next to a monster. The next day, Robert rushed back to the spiritual advisor. He told him what he saw. The advisor simply nodded. "She is a Pishacha, a demon-given form, and she is after the oldest boy. The Demon King wants the life force of the oldest." Robert pleaded for a way out. The advisor, resigned, said, "You can save one, maybe, but you must sacrifice the other." He advised Robert to give up Ben, the 17-year-old, because the next boy, David, still had his whole life ahead of him. That night, Robert, in his final, desperate act, told Rhiannon they were sending David to his grandmother's house because his grandfather was sick. He needed David to be safe. He prepared for the worst. He pretended to sleep, the salt burning a white-hot trail on his leg. At 2:30 a.m., Rhiannon rose. This time, Robert watched the transformation. The beautiful woman shredded into the 8-foot horror. The creature didn't creep. It flew into the children's room, its movements unnaturally fast, a chilling shadow of rage. Robert raced behind it. He was too late. He saw the creature snatch Ben, his oldest boy, and simply dissolve out of the window into the black night. Just as the advisor instructed, Robert ran. He didn't stop until he reached the advisor's cabin 3 miles away. The advisor and his apprentices were waiting. "She took him," Robert sobbed. "She took my boy." The advisor was calm. "We're going after her. Take us to the cottonwood tree." They rushed to the spot where Robert had met the old man and Rhiannon. There was no cabin, only the tree, and there, beneath the massive, gnarled roots of the cottonwood tree, was Ben, unconscious, but alive. The advisor performed a swift, brutal ritual. Ben woke up, confused. "Dad? I was just sleeping." He remembered nothing. The spiritual advisor looked at Robert, his face grim. The curse has been broken, Robert, but we must confirm the price was paid. They traveled to Lancaster to Robert's in-laws. They were greeted by a crowd and the sound of wailing. Robert's mother-in-law was dead. Her body was exactly like the children's, bloodless, shrunken, and a terrifying, deep blue. She had paid the price.